that you can refer to as well. So yes, so the first one here we spoke about Southampton-based community events in 2023. So I mentioned that there are a number of events, a number of Love Where You Live events being organised by the City Council and various other agencies to promote services in different communities within Southampton. This summer, the network has arranged that we will represent ourselves at some of those events, and obviously further details as we go will be given out to members if they'd like to join and volunteer to help promote their network and their organisations as well. So you'll find out more information about those in time. And the second one is libraries to become third-party hate crime reporting centres. So Liz Whale from the Southampton libraries spoke about the benefit of all the libraries within Southampton becoming third-party hate crime reporting centres. So we're now working on delivering training to the libraries so they can be set up to support people affected by hate crime. So that work's ongoing, and again, as we go, updates will be given to the network about that. And we also had Marion Piggin from Vivid Homes mentioned of the work Vivid is doing to produce short films about cultures in Basingstoke. So we said that any member that would like has suggestions, ideas about what those films should incorporate, they could email Marianne. And we also mentioned that talks on hate crime. I know that this is still the case. Correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, but I know there are there is the ability for CPS to send out staff to do hate crime training or awareness about legislation and things like that. So if you're interested in that, please do get in touch with Beth. We'll make sure the email is given afterwards as well. And then I will, I'll hand it over to you, Kiv, Marid, if you can just mention about empowering people.
On the next item, unfortunately, myself and Pavan, we did try organising a meeting that kind of didn't happen, and also because of Ramadan and other commitment, we weren't able to do that. But this is still one of our top priorities, and I think me and Pavan definitely should have book another meeting today. With regards to the next item on the agenda, I believe the citywide welfare forum has already happened. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do anything on the citywide welfare forum. I think for communication reasons. And on the next item on the agenda, hate crime training sessions. We have held a training session on May the 12th, was it?
Yes, May the 11th, I believe.
May the 11th, okay. Quite a few people did attend that. That video will be uploaded on YouTube also. And the resources have been sent out following that. That was quite a well-attended training session online. We're still trying to organize more and more training sessions like that. And I believe we're going to have training sessions involving Southampton libraries in the coming months as well.
Yes, we've had a number of other at the training that we did deliver. Hampshire, the Southampton libraries being one of them, and other members were interested in having their own training for their own staff. So there was it felt like there was a good appetite for that training. So that's something we're going to continue to do in the future. Okay, go to the next one. Okay.
We've got promotion of hate crime network social media. We're more active on social media now anyway, and We will be hopefully having some signs in the libraries, promoting our social media so people can know where to follow us and so on. And that kind of links in with the next item, which is hate crime signage in third-party hate crime reporting centres. We have produced some signage for certain hate crime reporting centres, and they've been sort of tailor-made for the reporting centres themselves. For example, we've had it in for mosques such as Kappa Mosque, and these have been very much specifically made for these reporting centres. So we encourage anyone, if you'd like to have a similar sign for your reporting centre, promoting the fact that it's a hate crime reporting centre, we'll be more than willing to produce one for you, and you can print it out and use it accordingly. The next item, preventing hate crimes in schools. Yeah, there was talk in our last network meeting about doing more in schools, doing more work in schools to prevent hate crime and to promote who we are. I have made some posters and leaflets promoting what the hate crime network is, so people know about it in schools, but also just promoting the fact that hate crime is what it is, and how we can prevent prejudice and why prejudice is wrong, and along the lines of that. So they're pretty tailor-made towards children, and hopefully we'll start giving them to schools, and hopefully the next step will be to start speaking in schools and distributing that way. The next item we have hate crime affecting taxi drivers. I have been in talks with local taxi firms in the area to see what we can do about hate crime, and to see if there's any support we can give to taxi drivers, or any talks we can do, or any training sessions we can do. So far, the response hasn't been great. I mean, we've had some response from certain taxi companies, and a couple have been interested in us having talks or having further communication with them. So hopefully, within the next few weeks, we'll be able to have some result and something we can do in taxi firms and to support taxi drivers. Of course, there have been attacks against taxi drivers recently, so I believe this is important.
Great, I think that's,
Thank you.
yeah.
So that's item number 2. The back from my last meeting, item 3 is everything to Stuart Baker for the 6th.
Okay, Sammy, you got the slide for the
Yes, we'll get that. Okay, yes, everyone. So for those online, we're going to just and everyone here, going to get the presentation that Stuart's going to do up for you. Just bear with me. Great. So yes, over to you, Stuart.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Stu Baker. I'm currently the hate crime lead for Southampton for Hampshire Police. Essentially, this is my second meeting now. So what I try to do is develop some of these statistics, so hopefully it makes a little bit more sense. So when I first came into the role about a month or so ago, and certainly when I came to your last meeting, there were a lot of statistics that were being produced that it seemed quite confusing. So what I'm trying to do is actually make this a little bit simpler, but at the same time, I'm happy to be guided by what it is that you want from these statistics and what you need, etc. So happy to receive feedback as we go through. So if you could, Sam, if you could just put on to the first slide for me. So
Yeah.
within Hampshire Constabulary, we've now got this analytical system called Power BI, which I think the council use as well. And it basically can give us a snapshot of 3-month periods in time. So as you can see, this first slide gives you some indication around the period of January the 1st through to the end of March, with that 3-month period. So within that, the first 3 months of this year, we've had 279 reports of various hate crimes. And then the box to the right, which is the same period last year, So last year in 2022, we had 241. So that's a slight increase year on year for that 3-month period of 16%. As you can see, that the previous period, what that means is that will be the 3 months before Christmas. So the 3 months before Christmas, we had 224 reports of hate crime, and that's a 25% increase. We've seen a 25% increase in these first 3 months of this year. So that's the commission rate, that's the overall number of hate crimes that are getting reported in Southampton for that period. Has anyone got any questions around that? And if you look on the right-hand side, then what it gives you is a breakdown of the crime types based on 10 or more reports generally. So the biggest amount of crimes are around public order offences. Then we move into violence without injury, and then violence with injury. So again, this is an opportunity. So Sam, are these sent out prior to the meeting?
This is going to be sent out after the meeting for everyone, but we can, yeah, we'll go.
Okay,
We
so
can get people to give their feedback on it.
So
Yeah.
moving forward, if you're happy, then if I can get this to you in good time, it could go out to people, then obviously people can have a review of it. And
Yeah,
perhaps
that's
bring
what
some
we can do
questions.
for next.
That'd be
Yeah,
great. Okay, so I mean, has anyone got any questions around those commission rates? I think what we need to do probably as a network is start to track this through as we go through the months. And what it will give us is a really clear picture around last year compared with this year
Yeah.
and previous time periods. So hopefully that will make some sense. Anyone got any questions around that bit?
Yes, can you bring up the Zoom meet people on Zoom?
Yeah.
I sort of see if any hands on.
yeah, yes, Beth?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not a Zoom user, so I don't know where my hands up facility is. I'm trying to look for it. I'm so sorry. And I'm using 2 screens as well. So yeah, I was just wondering, so that's for the hate crimes as opposed to hate incidents. I was just wondering, do you have that in your data set at all? Maybe not for today, but it'd just be interesting to see how many hate incidents are coming in.
Yeah, absolutely. What I'll do is I'll have a look for you. If we've got that data, I'll produce it for you. The thing is, at the moment, Power BI is being kind of developed at the moment. So they're sort of building it bit by bit. It may well be that the data's there, but I'll have a look for next time round.
Lovely, thank you.
Any other questions about them? Then the statistics.
Do you want to go on to the next slide, Dan?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so leave that on there if you want to, it's fine. So this slide, so these are the 2 slides that I was looking to produce. So again, this looks at our outcome rate. So this looks at the formal action that's been taken in relation to hate crimes. So as you can see, of those 200 odd that we had reported, during that period of January to March, for 3 months, we've had 50 formal actions that have been taken against people for hate crime. So to try and understand some of that data, so essentially if people don't support an investigation or a prosecution, then very often, 9 times out of 10, there's not a lot we can do about it because we need a victim on board. And that's where a lot of this work is really crucial around trying to build some of that confidence in people to actually go through the CJ system. But what you'll see is that the 50 out of 200 is currently a higher percentage of our solved rate than across all crime types. So it's a slightly higher percentage of solvability. The slight concern is that the same period last year, we had 66 formal actions taken. So a slight drop in those hate crimes that we've solved. However, compared to the previous period, which is the 3 months before Christmas, we've had a 9% increase in detections and outcomes. And again, it just gives you on the right-hand side there, a breakdown of the type of offences which we've been able to be successful in prosecuting and dealing with.
And what's the nature of these outcomes?
So the nature, formal action taken will be things like community resolutions, conditional cautions, or people being charged or some support. So again, I could probably find that data out, but it's just like I said, I'm trying to get some guidance as we go through to how much, because otherwise I could produce you 500 slides on things and we could get lost in the weeds of some of this stuff. But I also recognise that some of it would be quite useful. So as we go through, if that type of data you want to see, then it might be useful to us. But again, happy to receive that feedback.
Stuart, do you mind if I just jump in on this?
Please do.
So one thing that's worth keeping in mind as well, obviously, outcomes is kind of at the end of the investigation. So there is going to be a time delay in that, in terms of the data that we're looking at. But the other point I wanted to make, because it was mentioned in one of our hate crime IAGs, so one of our scrutiny panels, that we did quite recently. And we looked at a case where basically the victim asked police, they didn't want any action taken. They just wanted police to talk to the offender, give them some words for advice. That on our data shows up as a quote unquote negative outcome, as in it's not a formal outcome. So it's worth keeping that in mind, that a lot of the work that we do, which is according to the wishes of the victim, doesn't actually get represented properly in our data.
Absolutely. Really good point, and that leads us really nicely on to the next slide. No,
No,
absolutely.
I think previously what we've said is that every number has a story. We have said this before many times. And I think for me, it would be really interesting, and I've said this over a number of times, is that if you look at stories, you can pick up the weak points, the strong points, the points where perhaps agencies need to be intervening, but also where the communities can help those people who are victims of this. Because a lot of time people are not reporting even now because there's no confidence in the system, but also there's the fear of them being targeted again and again. And also the fact that it's a normal part of life.
100% agree, and I think Stuart might cover it. I think there's a mention of it on the agenda somewhere, but that's why we have things like scrutiny panels as well. So in those panels, we don't look at these numbers, we look at individual cases, and we look at the details of that case to pick up exactly like you said. What have we done well? What could have been done better? And the scrutiny panels are chaired by us, but it's independent members of the community that look at the cases.
I know who they are, but the thing is, people like us sitting around this table wouldn't necessarily have to get that information as to what is going on or not. And I think that's really important because all the agencies are into community engagement, community development, but then they don't have vital information for those families and communities who actually are the targets. And I believe that there are people who target certain communities and women.
I mean, it's worth mentioning while we're on this subject, just briefly, that the scrutiny panels that Will is referring to, or certainly the hate crime scrutiny panels that the CPS with other agencies have organised. The network has, as of this year, now joined that panel, which is really useful for us because what it means we're able to do is we're to take any concerns from the network to those meetings to see if they can be addressed, or just to mention them to the to certainly the relevant agencies there. So we will be doing that in the future. We've attended one of the meetings, but for the next panel that we will be attending, we'll definitely be giving an opportunity for feedback from the network that we can then pass on at the panel, and we'll also be able to share, albeit anonymously, because we can't give many details about cases, but we can talk, discuss the sort of things we've looked at on the panels, albeit anonymously. But just thought I'd mention that it is a good opportunity for the network's voice to be represented.
And equally, Akib is joining one of our panels as well quite soon. So I'm more than happy for you to bring back learning and share that with the group. Anything that you think want to. I mean, we try to be transparent. I completely agree that.
So a little bit of longer term thinking is the fact that you get all this information in your scrutiny panels and everything else, and you've got the stories or whatever. Do you ever use some of the aspects of that in training? And if you do, what training do you use it in, and for whom?
So there are kind of different levels. So when we do the panels, and this has kind of been described to all of the panels, we kind of identify what level of learning is needed. So if it's an individual officer, maybe just didn't really understand the policy or process or something like that, then we feed that back to the officer and their supervisors. If it's a wider team issue, then we will make contact with the team locally. We also feed that back to the tactical hate crime group that we have in force. And if it's something that we've identified as a trend that's kind of more force-wide, then we definitely include that in the CPD days and our comps and everything like that as well. So it depends on kind of the level of training that's needed, if that makes sense.
Okay, well, we'll go to the next slide. Yeah.
So last slide then, Sam. So there might be some duplication here then. So I think, again, as a network, we might need to decide moving forward what this is going to look like, because actually, if a few of you guys are now going to sit on the scrutiny panel, there may be some value in you bringing back that learning to this network rather than doubling up. Because so all what you just said there is essentially what we're going to try and do through a case study each time we come.
Yeah.
So again, we should look at an anonymised case. We could specify whether or not there's a positive outcome to that investigation. We could also look at one perhaps that's not got a positive outcome, and I mean that in terms of formal action taken.
Yeah.
As my colleague quite rightly said, even if sometimes it's a no further action in terms of police, actually if that's what the victim wants, then we may have provided a very good service to them. But again, it's for us all to have a review of that to see where we can develop the way we operate in terms of the standards of investigation and perhaps learning that we do need to take back from it. So that's what I was going to try and do through this case study, but maybe there might need to be a little bit of thought around how we deliver that then if you're going to be part of the scrutiny panel anyway.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Because,
Yeah.
so this one, forgive me, is just, I asked our outcomes team to give me one where there was a positive outcome. So if you want, I can go through this now and then we can discuss it.
Yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
useful. Yeah.
So this is a case study from November last year. You will have to, we will always probably run 6 months or so behind, because if someone was issued a condition
Yeah.
caution, then they're obviously given, I think, 16 weeks to be able to actually comply with the conditions of that caution. So we wouldn't actually know the result for at least 3 or 4 months. So this is from November last year. The offender in this case was 18 and the victim was a male who was 30, and there was some damage caused to his shop window and some racial public order comments. So this happened in the centre of Southampton. It was, as I said, it was criminal damage. So police were called to reports of a male who had been detained after he'd basically sworn and said some rather nasty things to a door staff member at the nightclub. They then kicked the window of the shop and caused some damage to it. So police action was taken. The offender was arrested for criminal damage and for the aggravated public order. During the interview, he'd admitted to both of those offences and he's shown remorse. So he was given a conditional caution, and he would have been given a conditional caution based on his previous convictions. So we obviously didn't have many. So he was given a caution. The conditions on that were to pay £250 to the aggrieved and also to attend a RISE course. So the RISE course is currently something that we deliver in Hampshire as part of a pilot with two other forces. And it's to look at, so there's no cost for the course to the offender. They have to go to a one-to-one session, and they must also attend 3 workshops as part of those conditions. And it's an educational based delivery around the impact of their behaviour on others. And that trial is still ongoing at the moment. So that will be assessed as to how effective that educational program is. But that's what we're currently using. So in this case, obviously all the statements and footage were uploaded to our system, and the offender paid the compensation and attended, it says, most of the course. So we would have gone to probably 2 or 3 of the sessions. Normally, if they don't attend everything, then we would consider whether or not we're going to breach them. But in this particular situation, it was decided that we're not going to breach them because they attended the majority of those courses. So then that's deemed complete now. So that's an investigation that we've had into a hate crime, and obviously it's open to. And this is why it'd be really useful to have that prior to the meeting, so people can sort of almost pick it apart.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
We'll
they
make sure that
They can
happens
turn
at
up with their
future
questions
meetings,
around
Yeah.
process or procedure, or
Yeah.
should we have done better here, etc., etc. So again, the floor's open for any questions.
Is that rifle, sorry, is it just for hate crime, was it other kind of crime as well?
No, that's a hate crime specific course, because it's been trialled nationally as part of a potential outcome that we can utilise.
Okay, we've got, yeah, Zoe, if you.
Just a really
Yeah.
quick question. I might have missed this because my team, I don't talk about a bit of safeguarding at the same time I was trying to listen to you, and I turns out I can't multitask. In your stats, it's much easier to see it, and Power BI is wonderful for that kind of thing. I guess because we're an LGBTQ plus organisation, is there any way of going a bit more granular to see how many hate crimes might have been sort of homophobic or transphobic, just because it might be interesting for us to know that kind of detail. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And like I said, I think what people need to do from today is feed any of those comments back to Sam. And then probably Sam can just give me a one-off email with 3 or 4 bits of the additional information you want, and then I'll try and produce it for the next meeting.
Cool, but that is a much more useful way of seeing it. It's made my brain engage. So yeah, thank you.
No problem. And if there aren't any further questions, Sam, that's me done.
More questions?
Great, thanks, Stuart.
Anyway,
I'll just speak on the app, and if there's no more questions. We do receive quite regularly some reports from the app. I think we've got here 14 reports that were made via the app from January to April. And we've also had a lot of reports being made to us directly. I mean, as Spectrum is, of course, a reporting center and one of the places that the network started. We do get quite a number of reports these days from members of the public who have experienced a hate crime, or family members have experienced a hate crime. I'm not sure I can go into too much detail about the cases specifically, but each of these cases, I mean, we do give it very proper attention, and me and Sam, we do give a lot of time to that, and we make sure that each individual case, I mean, no one goes without signposting either to our services or to the police or another member from the network, from the hate crime network.
And I think just to add to what Kip's saying there, we're trying to, yes, we've seen a good number of reports this year for hate crime related instances to us at Spectrum, but certainly I think with the training we're trying to do for different members, as well as supporting members with having promoting their centres, reporting centres. Yeah, we think that will hopefully help with seeing more people come forward to other reporting centres as well. So yeah, doing work to try and increase the numbers of people that we're able to support.
No, I think that's key. I think ever since we've started really promoting that we're a reporting centre here at Spectrum, I think we've had, I mean, way more reports being made to us. Yeah, so I do think it's important that people do know that each of our reporting centres are reporting centres, that they can report to.
so you have to mention that quite regularly then, so people don't forget that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll just have like sufficient signage or something, so
Yeah.
it's in your face sort of thing.
Remind us regularly.
Yeah, I agree.
Next item on the agenda is members' updates on hate crime or anything else that they might deem appropriate. So I'll take anybody's, you don't have to put your hand up and just speak if you like.
The only thing I can say is happening and nobody wants to report,
Yeah, go for it, Anne.
you know, yeah. Find that even now. But I was, when I see Yaki, one of the things I want for, I think all the faith places, not just the mosque, is a poster that says this, you know, you can report here, because there's nothing, if you enter any, I go to the Hindu temple or I go to the Sikh Gurdwara or the mosque, there's nowhere it says that these are places where you can, you know, or hate crime. I've got lots of little leaflets that Ahmed gives me time and again. And I do pass them on to people all over the place, anyone walking around the roads. But I think we need a signage that actually says, you know, you can do this, but you can also,
Certainly,
Report
changing
here.
that pervasive numbers of people saying, you're expecting this to happen, therefore not reporting it, it's just part of normal life and.
yeah. I mean, I was talking to some women recently and they were saying that what's the point?
Yeah,
What's the point?
yeah.
And of course, my answer always is that the point is if you report, then we know
Yeah,
it's happening, but we also know where it is happening, so we can focus interventions there in a way.
yeah.
But I think we need to do a bit more work, and perhaps while we're talking, I was just thinking perhaps I can speak for the Muslim Council and Medina Mosque Trust, that we put something on our webpage.
So that would be a good thing, but I think, yeah, like you say, I mean, a lot of people necessarily, they won't even use these web pages. I think the key thing is having signage indoors, and we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah. It's in your face then,
Yeah, definitely, I agree.
but in the mosques, you can't have posters with people or animals on it. So we have to be really creative about how we make sure that it's in the face, yeah.
That sounds really brilliant. Well, and I think, you know, the more we can do is show through case studies and that, you know, there is a point in reporting and that things do happen as a result with Stuart statistics and the CPS's stories that they have, and all we can show that actually there is a point to report, the better really. Anybody else?
I don't know if it was ever explored, I don't know, you might know too, if it was ever explored, the links between hate crime and prevent and domestic abuse event.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, Stuart, what do you?
I don't know,
want to
Stuart,
comment?
yeah, we've raised it before.
I can add to that. So, CTP headquarters have done some work around the link between domestic abuse and extremism specifically. So that's, I always get it wrong, of Starlight, I want to say. As part of that, we've also had a number of conversations around the link between hate crime and extremism. So when we get kind of a counterterrorism local profile done every year. And within that, one of the specific areas that they look at is hotspots for hate crime as well. And they overlap that with prevent referrals and things like that. I think there is more that can be done. And I think there's more that should be done with communities to better understand that relationship. But it is something that we're starting to look at a bit more.
Yeah, because don't hear it at prevent meetings or even the regional meetings or anything like that. So, you know, I kind of think, is it kind of just under the carpet or people finding it difficult to make the linkages in a way that can actually have some outcomes rather than just collecting information and then all that.
Anybody else? So Sam will tell me if I'm missing it.
Yeah.
On the
Let you know, yeah.
So we'll move to item 5, plans for the National Hate Crime Awareness Week this year, which is on the 8th of October.
Great, yeah. So this point was just to see what ideas and people have and what kind of thoughts are for the National Hate Crime Awareness Week, which is albeit they're 5 or 6 months away, so in October, but it's good to prepare for these weeks in advance. Just we're trying to do more this year. So obviously this meeting is a good chance to maybe discuss that. Yeah, we've done a lot in previous years as to raise awareness about hate crime and similar issues to the community. But yeah, I'm keen for this year to make sure it's really led by what the members want to see being done or us being involved in. And if we have a clear idea of that, we can then look at how we can do, we can do what we can to achieve, you know, to make sure what you'd like to be done is you know, we're involved in. So I think I mean, it'd be good if anybody does have any thoughts now that they'd like to give based on what's maybe worked in the past, or what they think could work. And it's just general. I mean, obviously it's to do with hate crime awareness, but if there's anything you think is relevant that's associated with that, then, you know, I'm happy to take any feedback now, or certainly just any general thoughts or ideas, if anybody's got anything they'd like to mention.
Certainly, I think, putting aside the actual activities, I think it'd be good to coordinate and be aware of what different agencies are doing. Because I know, like the OPCC will have a range of events during that week, and so might the network, and so might the police and various other agencies as well. But we should be coordinating and making sure that we're aware, you know, and people are aware generally. So it looks like it's one subject rather than 6 different ones that's going on. Easier said than done, I know.
But that, I think that's a good point Ian makes, because certainly what we're trying to do, I think last year we got a or in previous years we've always had a community list of events that our members are doing, but that's kind of gone out maybe in the weeks leading up to it, which we found is maybe too late, really. So if, you know, what I'll do following this meeting, maybe put out an email to everyone, and you can respond to that with any events that you know are taking place to do with hate crime around that week, maybe before or after, and we can then put that into a document that everyone has access to, hopefully with, you know, months in advance of the actual week, so everyone can be prepared and hopefully have as many people as possible attending the different events or getting involved as much as they would like to. And what it also means is we won't hopefully have any duplication of events that are also you know, existing, that are, you know, albeit it's good to, you know, constantly raise awareness, but, you know, if everyone's doing the same thing, obviously that limits the impact. So we know that we'll know what events are taking place and which ones we can get involved in. So so everyone's we'll have an opportunity to mention what they know about that's going on. So if there's no if there's no other suggestions, then I'll let people you know, have a think and always get back to me.
Putting forward a like calendar for that 8 days, and you know what's going on each day, and from whoever it might be, then they can start to get a picture of what's going on, whether it's feeding to it or not.
Could you perhaps remind me what the theme is this year?
Well, I mean, it's I know that there is always a thing. I don't know if it's been revealed or whether we'll need to look into that to know exactly what the theme is. But
just from a personal perspective and observation, I feel there are 2 particular sections of society that are increasingly at risk because of some of the language we're going. And I excuse the expression, but this war on woke, this culture war, I think people from a trans background, and I think people who are fleeing other countries, refugees, asylum seekers, the kind of rhetoric that's being used in the public discourse is making life very difficult for these groups. And I think there's an opportunity here perhaps to address that. And I think maybe, dare I say it, some political education required for those people in public office about the kind of language that they use when speaking about some of these groups, because sometimes they perhaps, maybe unwittingly, are fanning the flames of hatred, which is something we should be doing the opposite of. So those are 2 areas I think
certainly it's marginalising people and groups, and they make their voice known in case they get, you know, some feedback on it.
Well, the political background now does not help at all with the language, not only the language used, but the way in which the things are actioned for those communities and everything else, you know, that you're thinking. So, you know, when it comes from the top, it gives the license to anybody else on the street to behave badly.
If it's helpful, we've started doing some planning for hate crime awareness week on a force-wide level. Our plan is not to focus on a specific community. Although that being said, I think we do want to do a bit more work around perhaps less well-known forms of hate crime that people might not be as aware of. But our kind of internal theme, if you will, is report, educate, support. So it's kind of those three strands that we're looking at.
I think that's really important with the publicity the police have had and within the forces and the behavior of officers. And I don't want to go in detail with that, but certainly that is a very important aspect. And the question is, how do you monitor the change in that? Because you can be trained forever and no change happens. So just a point to think about. I don't want to respond to that. You know, so let's invest in training and this and that, but what is the change and who monitors that change?
Certainly, I think it'll be good to, you know, said earlier, doing, you know, awareness for groups that don't commonly get thought about around hate crime. I think that would be particularly useful way of, you know, challenging some of the things that they spoke about.
The other thought I had was that, and again, it kind of links across to that wider discourse, but people who perhaps are taking a stance on environmental issues are increasingly becoming the focus by some unpleasant forces in society, some of whom are motivated by hate. So this is, again, obviously, you've probably seen it on the television,
Yeah.
you know, some of the clips of some of those, and some of the people have taken extreme measures and, you know, are upset in the public. But what we're seeing, certainly, to lesser extent in Southampton, if you look at somewhere like Oxford, where a concerted effort to campaign against low traffic neighbourhoods and things like that, this is becoming a focal point for a number of groups, some of whom are motivated by hate. And we've got on a much lower scale here. I mean, there was a controversy around Portland Broadway, for example, and demonstrations there that were attracting people that were, I would argue, motivated by hate. So there's something like that that perhaps we need to sort of understand, and it perhaps goes back to Carving's point about the links with events and extremism and hate, that we need to sort of like make sure that we can address those.
Yeah, and certainly making, you know, speaking openly about those areas that might be deemed to be politically no-go areas.
And you see, you know, when the Afghan refugees came into the hotels, I did a lot of work around this with them on groups, men and women and whatever. And they've never thought of that concept. They've never thought of that getting refuge in this country. You know, there were these ideas that Britain was very loving and very caring and all this kind of thing. And some of them were quite taken aback, and we were saying, and there were people who were saying, you know, that they, although they had experiences of people spitting at them and throwing glass bottles with alcohol in it at them, but that concept had not kind of really come home, that this could happen in a country where we have come for refuge. You know, so at the hotel, I did a lot of work around it and said, well, this is the reality, and you have to live with that.
I think all we can do is say a network and members of the network to say it's okay to say these things. And you certainly don't need to feel marginalised, then the better. I think, you know, that means challenging the public discourse, and so be it. I think who sometimes use it for their own ends somewhere, and it's not acceptable, and we shouldn't be afraid to say that. And certainly if the week helps us do that, so much better, but certainly I think it'd be good to coordinate what different members are doing, so we can see it all out in the open, and start promoting each other's events as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we're on this subject, in terms of other event, what we know of that is happening during the National Hate Crime Week, we have agreed on one of the Saturdays. I'm sure we'll make sure everyone is aware of the dates. But the network will be represented at one of the events that actually the Board in the City Board Game Cafe, which is one of our members, are holding with the hopefully at the University of Southampton, I believe, a event to raise awareness about all the different volunteering or opportunities and activities the public, the Southampton community essentially can get involved in. So we'll be there to kind of represent the network and maybe, and promote that, and as an opportunity for people to get involved in. We will make sure that we know we have sent out the details, but we'll get them sent out again. So that should you, I think there's the deadline for applying is coming up soon, but we will make sure by the end of this week anyway that you have the information if you would like to apply as your own organisation to attend that event, to talk about the opportunities that you've got at your organisation. But anyway, the network will be represented there, and we'll welcome members to be part of that if they'd like to get involved. So just a heads up on what we've already got planned during that week.
Thank you, Dan. Any questions, any suggestions?
Suggestion, one of the things I told the Afghani community is that they should never go out alone. Safety is in numbers. So go out in twos or threes, and never alone, and in the hours of darkness, when dusk sets in and it's dark.
I think it's
Try
often,
to not wander out into town or anywhere
I
else.
think it's often that perceived difference between being safe and feeling safe, isn't it? And you have to do both of those before you can go out, basically. So the more we can do to make sure we tackle, tackle those messages better, really. Particularly for people coming into the country. Number 6 is the awareness network awareness sessions. Sam.
Great. We're just keen here to get an idea of what people's thoughts are on the awareness sessions that the network has been doing. As some of you will know, it's part of our initiative that we've been doing for a couple of years now to raise awareness about different types of hate crime with different strands, but also more recently we've been raising awareness about different cultures and communities within Southampton to try and in a sense to put a positive spin on things, to promote the diversity that there is in Southampton, to hopefully hopefully lead to greater intolerance towards hate crime. So we have been setting up those events, and we always believe that they are useful in providing awareness on the different communities, and that's the feedback that we have got given. But these sessions, which are online and in person now, are being attended by a number of people, but not as many people as we would perhaps like, and that's people perhaps external to the network who are more unaware of these issues, who will obviously benefit maybe more from attending, albeit we have had positive feedback from those that have attended. But with that in mind, I think, and generally after doing it for 2 years roughly, I think it's a good opportunity to get a feel for what the appetite is for those sessions. I know some of you will have attended them, and some of you have even hosted some as well. And yeah, because we obviously want to continue doing things that are useful, but we obviously want to reflect you know, the wishes and the needs of the network, and you know, and now I think now's a good time to reflect on that. So it'd be good if anybody's got any points, any general feedback on the sessions, how they think they've been, and even if they've only attended one, or you know, generally if you hosted one, what your thoughts were, whether you know, it'd just be good, to if you have got any thoughts to you know, and welcome to take, you know, positive or negative feedback. You know, it's just an opportunity. So yeah, I'm happy to take any thoughts, comments, questions, if there are any.
I guess as well as topics or potential topics for future awareness or anything events would be good as well.
Yeah, I mean, yes, exactly. Are there any topics that people would like to mention? I mean, we have obviously tried to involve as many of our members as possible to do sessions that about the communities or the hate crimes that are relevant to them. But yeah, I mean, obviously one of no, what Will was saying is about different awareness about more less prominent maybe types of hate crime that people are less aware of. You know, it's those sorts of things that we're always keen to do to make sure people are aware of all the different issues and areas. So, you know, what we'll try and do in the future is make sure if we are to do sessions that they'll, you know, reflect different communities that we haven't maybe, you know, focused on before. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, we're happy to take any thoughts that you've got feedback wise about these sessions, as well as thoughts on other sessions that you'd perhaps like to give. And you know, if you're sitting here today and if you're a member and if you think, oh yeah, this would be a good thing to do a session on, then yeah, by all means, let me know. So happy to take any feedback on this, because yeah, it's important. What we do here is guided by the membership, you know, rather than just what, you know, me and maybe Mohammed think is a good idea. Obviously it has been useful, but yeah, it's always interesting to know what other people how other people perceive it as well. So okay,
The issue for me is always about promotion. I mean, is there a place that people can go to see what awareness, you know, the awareness events, to see what they are and when they are and things like that? So it's all about, I think a lot of it is about promoting what as well as doing.
yeah,
Make sure people know. I don't know if we do that.
Yeah.
There's the publicity, isn't it? Yes.
I think this, yeah,
But I've had nothing but positive feedback. Nobody's ever said, oh, that was crap or whatever.
no,
But nobody said that. What they've
yeah,
tended to say is, I learned something from it
Yeah.
and it was good and the
And-
awareness was good.
yeah,
So I think there's positive feedback from it. I haven't had negative feedback. I can tell you that much.
okay. Well, I think that kind of, it's kind of where we kind of, what our kind of perspective was on it as well. I think generally we've had very positive feedback, but it's just as Ian says, you know, we've had them and yes, it's useful, but it's obviously going to be a lot more useful if more people attend. So yeah, promotion is something me and Akib have been working on to try and, you know, put up posters and utilize our social media. But yeah, constantly something we're looking at trying to improve. So again, we're happy to take you know, ideas and maybe, you know, if you've got any ways that you can help us with the promotion. But yeah, certainly that's I think one of the things we probably need to explore even more to really publicize it, because I think as I said at the start, it's about, you know, getting those members of the public that may be less aware about these issues to attend. And once we start doing that, then yes, there'll be a lot more use, I feel, for, you know, benefit to the public. So, yeah. Okay, I'm happy to take you.
I was just going to say really quickly, I agree with all the positive feedback, and Breakout happy to do LGBTQ plus awareness. I know we've already done one round, but we'd be happy to do that again, which is my added bit.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Well, yeah, well then maybe we will communicate about that at some point and see if we can do, because yeah, I mean, yeah, and when we have a chat about different sessions, we'll also look at what we will do to make sure it's promoted as well. So
I was just going to add, sorry, where it says alternative method. I was just going to add, if anyone wanted to explore any other ways we could kind of do things with a similar goal of awareness sessions, we can explore that as well. Maybe we could have like videos or short clips or kind of interview style videos that we can upload on YouTube and circulate it through the network. I think maybe one of the barriers to having awareness sessions is that maybe people find it daunting, or it's a lot of preparation, or it's time out of their day, and maybe we could just get short videos or something produced by our members, or something similar to that people can use to do the same thing as an awareness session, but something they feel more comfortable with. Because I think the more groups and the more kind of community groups which speak or spread awareness about what they do and who they are, the better. So if you're comfortable doing that, but you're not comfortable doing an awareness session like how we do here, definitely reach out to me and Sam and we can explore that.
Okay, so moving on, next item is promotion of hate crime reporting centres, self-promotion and how we can help promoting as well. I think Sam, over to you.
great. So yes, here we're just going to, as we've spoken about and touched on, but we'll explore it a little bit more here, just to talk about what we've done as a centre here, as an organisation here at Spectrum Centre for Independent Living, to promote ourselves. We are one of the third-party hate crime reporting centres. Yeah, to promote ourselves, to encourage greater reporting. As a kid was saying there, we have, we believe, through the greater promotion, you know, encourage more people to come forward and be met to support more people affected by hate crime. So it feels like there's been a benefit to doing that. So what I'm going to do first and foremost is just share the screen of image of the reporting center, the signage that we have now got here at Spectrum. So, and we will zoom in, don't worry, to make sure you can see the content. So yeah, this here is a roller banner that we put up in our reception area to inform people basically that here at Spectrum you can use these details here to contact us if you have been targeted because of your identity. Now we've used that wording so that people know it's hate crime, or it's, you know, but it's essentially anything where you've been targeted because of your identity. We want people to come forward and see what we can do. So yeah, we put this up in the in our foyer area, and you may have seen that we've also got a kind of metal plaque outside the building that just says report hate crime to Spectrum, a simple message like that, so people see it and they know, oh, okay, if ever I experience a hate crime, something like that, I can come here. And as soon as they go in the building, they'll see this sign and they'll know, oh, okay, we can use these contact details to report. And yeah, as I said, we think that that's been a contributing factor to why more people have come forward. So yeah, and basically the point is, anything like this that somebody would like designed, we can support with that, albeit we don't have the resources to print a roller banner like this for every single centre, but we can certainly work with you to provide a appropriate design for your centre, similar to this one, because obviously we want them to look fairly similar so that people, it creates some recognition within the city. Yeah, but if you want support, then please come forward and we can help. And even if you're not a reporting centre, you know, we can talk about becoming one, because it isn't, you know, yeah.
Like it costed, like a banner like that.
Yeah, road banner like these, I don't want to give any specific cost, because I know that there are many different sites that do it, and obviously we will provide suggestions, but it's totally up to, you know, maybe you don't want to print a roller banner, maybe you would like to just print a poster that you can put up, and that we've just done a roller banner because that's good for our centre, but we can certainly give a design and then you can go and use that in whatever way you wish, and get it printed in whatever way you wish, and you know,
So how much did this cost Spectrum?
yeah, I don't want to give any specific,
But not to, I think.
I haven't got I can't remember it on the top of my head, but
We've had roller banners, various things over the years.
£300,
From the big
£1,000.
£20 to the £60, £70, but you obviously you get more robust the more you pay. But I can't remember how much that one cost either, but it was you know, they can be very cheap, especially if they're not going to be portable. And you know, it doesn't matter if they get knocked about there.
Yeah.
I guess my line of inquiry goes something along with this, if you follow with me, that let's say 7 or 8 members like
Together.
to do that. We're not quite sure, because they've all are pressed for cash, where to get the money from. But let's say 7 or 8 want to do that and could come together to put in, should the opportunity present itself, either from the Police and Crime Commissioner's office or from the City Council, if there's a funding stream for tackling crime, instead of having lots of groups trying to fill in forms for tiny little things there, the single bid goes into commission, and then maybe get a reduction from the provider. I mean, that's the sort of place where we want to think about doing things a bit smart. And I'm sure that the commissioners of the people that give out the grant, it's the sort of thing they could possibly buy into if it was presented in the right way.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think there's a lot of potential with network to bring people together who want to work
Yeah.
on those materials, so we can make the awareness higher that we exist and what we do, to support people as well as
Yeah,
supporting the hate crime.
no, there certainly might be options like that, because I think it's about, you know, people seeing that there's going to be a benefit from it. And if there's a lot of members, which hopefully, you know, there will be wanting these signs, then it's, you know, it shows that there's a good strong appetite for it. So yeah, there's certainly things like that we can explore to you know, because I think an issue is a lot of the time that we know our members would like to have these resources, but because some of us are small organisations, it's difficult to be able to afford and maybe, you know, have these in our centres for other reasons. So I think if we can get a good appetite with this and hopefully have a lot of groups interested, then we might be able to explore other options for funding. So please for initially, if you are interested, just get in touch with me, and then we can look to sort something out.
Well, could be is, and if you'd like to participate in the bulk buying, then let us know and we can take it from there. Sam and Mohammed between the governance committee, Sam.
Brilliant. Okay. I've just realised. I think we will go on to the governance committee. Before we do that, we'll just finish off the previous point. I realised that I'd forgotten, but Mohammed is going to show an example of what he's created and talk about for the Taqwa Mosque, one of our members within the city. So I'm just going to share the screen.
You have it on, okay. that's
Yes,
fine,
I do. I've got it. Yeah, so good. Great. Just bear with me. Okay. And then again, hopefully everyone can all get that to better. Just bear with me. So yeah, I'll over to you then.
Yeah, so that's just one example of a kind of poster that we've designed. I mean, it's free of charge to design it really. Doesn't take too long either to design a poster like that. And we can do that for any reporting center sort of thing. So at the top line, it says, peace be upon you, in Arabic. And it says that the mosque is a third-party reporting center, quite simply. And if you have experienced a hate crime, you can call that number there, which is with the permission of the Imam of Taqwa Mosque. That's his number. He said that he can take calls from people. He's willing to do that to signpost people. And also our email address, if anyone just wants to write something, prefers to email instead of calling. If anyone has any suggestions how we can improve a post like this, I mean, you're more than welcome to suggest that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Please. Is there any reason, culturally or otherwise,
Yeah, so
why the branded image that's used, so I, you know, the Love Southampton and all that stuff can't be reproduced on there? Because my concern would be that if different organisations use their own branding like that, then it could create confusion and not the single. You know, so it's good to have the single email contact and or telephone, but sticking that brand could be quite powerful.
yeah.
Kind of like saying there's a unity of purpose.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that because it is a partnership at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's to be honest, that's not something I consider. I just since it was made for Taqwa Mosque, I just added their logo in, but that's definitely something we can consider.
I think it's really important to have the standard message visual about love,
Love, don't hate. Yeah.
don't hate.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
And if you could have it under those lamps at the top,
Yeah.
and then you can have all the other details down there, and you can have a mosque for the mosque, the
Yeah.
Gurdwara or the wedding temple or the church, so whatever you want to do then, it doesn't limit you to, I agree.
100%, I agree with that.
Yeah.
If we have a love, don't hate, it shows that it's a partnership. So what I'll do then is I'll add on love, don't hate signage on all of the posters. But yeah, like I say, I mean, this is just an example for a mosque in Southampton that was made for them. But doesn't matter what your organization is or what your reporting center is, we can make it however you'd like, really. I mean, you can make it plain without any design. We can make it with the design. It doesn't matter, really. So yeah, please, if you do want any signage to be made for you, we'll make it free of charge. We'll send you a copy and you can print that off and stick it up somewhere appropriate in your reporting center.
Brilliant. Thanks.
Thank you. Network governance.
Yes, so yeah. So I now wanted to talk about what we've achieved or what the progress we've made with the Hate Crime Governance Committee or the Hate Crime Network Governance Committee, essentially. So what we're doing with that is, thank you for the feedback, Ranjiv. Yes, so what we're doing at the moment is before each of these network meetings, about 3 or 4 weeks prior, with a number of our kind of key funders and members as well that are involved in the network, we meet to discuss you know, what really needs to be discussed you know, at our meetings, and then we take them forward. So what we're discussing today is based loosely a little bit upon what we discussed there, and it's just an opportunity to make sure we are listening to the voices of the network and, you know, moving things forward in the right direction as people, as the community or our members feel is necessary. But one of the things that is lacking at the moment is the amount of representational voices that we have in the committee, and it's something that we would like to improve, albeit it is something that I know is a voluntary thing, again, to be involved in. But at the moment, we've got our funders, and then we've got PBS4, which represents supports people with learning difficulties. They're in Southampton. They're on the committee, as well as Beyond Reflections to support the LGBTQ plus community. So we have those two voices represented, as well as actually Abdullah's on our the committee representing the council and the United Voices of African Associations. So there are those organisations, but obviously there are a number of other communities that we'd like to have represented, because obviously that gives a better, more well-rounded picture. So yeah, all I'm saying is if you have a community that you think, well, that should be represented, so particularly around obviously a religion, maybe other disabled people, or other transgender, or anything. But yeah, if you think you'd like to be involved, then please do let me know. I'll take your question, Zoe.
Not a question, it's more of a, I know you got Beyond Reflections, which obviously is an 18+ trans organisation. So Breakout is 11 to 25 LGBT, so it's lesbian, gay, bisexual and the trans part. But also, what I'm saying is I'd like to join in. So there's that, but also obviously it's young people, so make it that young people voice, but also a lot of my young people are neurodiverse or ADHD or somewhere on that area. So probably we can think of it from a few different aspects, so you're not doubling up on some areas. So yeah, if you'd like some help with Sam, let me know.
Brilliant, thanks, Zoe. Well, that's maybe something we will communicate about after this, because it'd be great to have your voices involved, especially if it represents other groups that we haven't got represented. But yeah, it's also just a great opportunity to be involved in really making or guiding the direction of the network, because obviously we want to reflect the community and the needs of the community, and we can only do that by having different people within the community represented. So that's kind of what we would what would be, I think, more beneficial for the network as a whole. So I'll probably do another email just to give people that information after this meeting, and then we will and then we can take things forward if you are interested. So yes, that's all I wanted to say on the governance committee. Happy to take any other questions if there are any. If not, we can move on.
And I noticed that we're originally brought into being partially to make sure that the funders' interest will represent on what the network does. So that's now happening. I think that's possible now.
Yeah, I think we're making sure. Yeah, another aspect of this is to make sure, the funders that we have, the OPCC and the City Council, are represented, and we are kind of I think what we're trying to do, part of the work, is to create a long-term strategy that is a citywide strategy for kind of tackling hate crime, and we have the council working on that, including the different voices from different communities, and that will be a strategy that different agencies and kind of the network can follow as a whole, so we know kind of what the direction is, and everyone's on the same page, so to speak. So it has helped us so far to align everything really, and make sure you know, the network is doing, well, we're not all duplicating everything, but we're on the set, we're doing, the same sorts of things to tackle hate crime, rather than completely different things. So I think, it's helping to make sure that there is a clear focus throughout the city to kind of tackle hate crime.
Thank you, Sam. Any other business from anybody? Any other business?
I think I think I'm aware that Hamid has said to me that we have a new representative. I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but Key, I believe you are a new representative for the university, Southampton University, for the network. So what we do while we've got a little bit of time, I can give you a chance. Again, apologies to put you on the spot, but if you wanted to introduce yourself, I know Mohammed said that you might be able to, give you an opportunity. So I'm happy to hand over to you.
Thank you. First, I made apologize. I'm late for this meeting. My name is Qi Ling. I'm the newly appointed racial harassment advisor for the University of Southampton. And my role is to manage the reports and of a report of racial bullying and harassment made to the university through the support and a report and a support tool. So our team is founded by 4 members. So I will working with the tackling harassment advisor together to provide support for the student who experience the bullying or harassment. So my role is largely involves like engagement and prevention. So engage with the international student groups and provide a regular like safety awareness talk to the newcomers. So I'm also the first contact person to hate crime or hate incident with the university. So I would like a little bit, take a little bit of chance or time to introduce our report and the support tool. This one is student or staff, if they suffered like discrimination, harassment, or hate, they can use that tool, report it anonymously or with their details. So it's up to the reporter's own choice. The reporter can report it as anonymously or with their contact details. So in that particular tool, we set up a lot of questions and forms. So we ask all the details about the incident. And if the reporter reported with their contact details, so a trained advisor will then be in touch with this reporter and offer them specialist support and guidance. So this is the university, the tool to encourage student and the staff to report any discrimination or hate incidents. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Key, for that introduction and a bit of context about what's happening at the university. Are there any questions for Key at all? Basis of that after that? No. Okay. Well, many thanks for the introduction. Any other business from any other person that they'd like to raise today? Okay. Well, if there is, you can always, let us know afterwards, and we can include that in our notes. I did just want to mention before we close the meeting that I have had discussions with a printing company within Southampton called Trojan Publishing. And now they've got in touch with us through one of our members because they're doing kind of a new project or to kind of tackle hate and publishing and you know, and hate crime and similar issues, and they're creating their own branded materials to do that. Obviously we've got our own, the Love Don't Hate brand. So what we're potentially looking at is whether we can offer training to some of their staff actually who are more susceptible to hate crime. Yeah, they've got different disabled people that work there that we might be able to provide some awareness. And we're looking at whether in return they can provide us with some materials that we to promote our hate crime network. So basically we will we're having discussions, but it might be that there might be room to explore what we can do around you know, the report, the reporting centre's signage. Obviously conversations have to be had, but that's something we might be able to look at. And plus they've also said, you know, because of their messaging and their kind of yeah, aims to kind of tackle you know, similar issues to what we're tackling. If you'd like to link with them, then yes, I will make sure the details are given. You can also yeah, get in touch with them if that's something you think is of interest. Anyway, that's just yeah, just a point I wanted to mention. So no, there's no other business from me. So yeah.
From what David said earlier on, to encourage use of the branding that we've already got, rather than making it more confusing with more brands.
No, I think so,
would
yeah.
be good idea, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Any other business, or move to the end of the day of the next meeting, which is Monday, the 14th of August, 2 till 4. Here, I
Can I
guess.
ask a question, Sam? You know, there's some umbrellas that come up, one in Eastleigh,
Yeah.
and one at Southampton.
Yes.
Is there our presence there?
Yes, that's right.
I'm sure there would be, I just.
No, thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, no, I think that's worth mentioning as we have got a bit of time. So I will just say that there is, yes, as Parvin pointed out there, we've got the Eastleigh Mellor Festival, Southampton Mellor Festival, represents different kind of cultures, I believe, within the area. So the network is going to be represented at both those events, to providing information, yeah, and to promote ourselves. So again, alongside those, as I said at the beginning, alongside those events and a few of the Love Where You Live events, to support different communities within Southampton, will provide information about all of those, so that different members, if they're available to, can get involved in those. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that. Pardon. Okay.
Right. Okay, nice to everybody. I'll see you on the 14th of August.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, many thanks everyone online and in person.
Lovely, thank you. Bye.
Very much.
Thank
you.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye.